What's up, everybody? So today we are going to be doing another elephant in the room video, and we're going to be discussing yet again why politics and gaming absolutely should not mix. So before I get started, I want to let you guys know this is going to be a 2-for-1 deal. We're going to be discussing two different mods in this video that I stumbled across towards the end of December here. Now, one of the things about State of Decay 2 is for the longest, I basically stayed away from this game. Every time I looked into it, I'd go to the Steam forums. People would be arguing, about all kinds of crazy crap. Not enough white folks in the game. You know, games sparking rainbows, BLM shirts, and whatever other kind of political crap. So, as a general rule of thumb, I don't normally mix politics in my gaming. So, I've stayed away from this game for the longest. Um, One of the things or whatever that wasn't a fan of was the co-op restrictions and the fact that when it started out, as we all know, it was a Microsoft exclusive. So that was a big no-no for me as well also. But during this last Christmas sale on Steam, I decided to revisit and try to debate whether or not and decide if I wanted to get this game. So I'm looking at Nexus mods. I go to Nexus mods. I want to see what they got out for the game because that's what kind of mods they got and everything, Walking Dead mod and whatnot, because that's my particular interest. And I'm checking that out, and out of the blue, as I'm scrolling through the mod list, I come across this. So I already knew, just by the way it was named, that shit wasn't gonna last long. And it didn't. It did not make it through. I don't even think it made it a full 8 hours before this got zapped off the platform. And the fact that it was re-uploaded, and this is what I found particularly interesting. It's one thing to get removed the first time, but to sit there and actually re-upload after you have been removed, you're just kind of asking for trouble at this point. Now, while I don't generally have an issue with wanting to remove stuff out of a game or add stuff to a game via modding, I do have a issue with the way you go about it. And if you go about it, with the intense purposes of being a dick, well then you got a ban well deserved. Now, I read over this, and of course it was issued by the Vampire Dante, the big TVD. You know, my dude sat there and issued the ban the first time around. Probably the same guy that issued it the second time around. But what I found particularly interesting was the ban reasoning. Files that remove gender identity, including pronouns, from a game that have been intentionally put in place by a game developer when the removal is clearly to be divisive or cause hostility within the community or marginalize specific groups. So, first off, I would argue that the LGBTQ community has not been marginalized for generations. We have gay marriages in this country or whatever. There's nothing marginalized about that. I would consider that to be a huge success. A huge success, and moving forward. Um, is everything in our country perfect? No, absolutely not. But the point being, uh, at least here in America, we have moved beyond. I would like to think we have moved beyond a lot of the bigoted bullshit. But what I found particularly disturbing is that it's bad enough that we have game companies telling us what we should and shouldn't think, and now we have our modding communities telling us what we are and are not allowed to mod in and out of a game. Now, had they sit there and gave the ban reasoning, for we removed your mod because you uploaded with the intense purposes of being a dick, I could get behind that. I could totally get behind that. You know, but the fact that you're not even able to mod out pronouns, yeah, that's a little bit on the wrapped up and stupid and rolling and dumb side. Um, the other issue, like I said, is the name. No gay flags. You might as well have said no gay is allowed. You know, and if you really want to be bold or whatever, you might as well have dropped a damn F bomb. I mean, don't half ass it. If you're gonna be bigoted, don't half ass it. You know. So while I do agree with the fact that they banned this particular mod for the reason that I stated or whatever, because it does come across like they uploaded it with the intense purposes of being an asshole, so I can't even really be mad at them. Not only that, but if you look at the photo here, it doesn't look like they really replaced it with anything that I can tell. I mean, you got a little space there between the stuff, so you didn't even replace it with anything credible. You didn't throw an American flag there or any other kind of flag there. You didn't put a poster up. I mean, hell, you could have sat there and put a poster of an Ewok drinking his morning coffee or whatever, and I would have been perfectly okay with that. I might have even been able to defend. What you got a problem with Ewoks? We might have been able to defend some shit to that. But, this doesn't really do anything but other than remove the flag, which in by itself, like I said, I don't have a problem with adding or removing stuff to games. I don't think it's that big a deal for me personally. I think that if you're offended by it, um, you definitely got some issues you got to work out. If you're concerned what people put in and out of their single player game, I definitely think that's a problem that we are policing that in our modding communities, or that people are policing that in their modding communities. But I do think that when you're gonna make you know a mod, and if you genuinely want people to be receptive to your mod, you might not want to sit there, and label it in what could be interpreted as a bigoted way. Be funny, be creative. You could have called this mod "No Farting Rainbows." That would have been funny, nice, neat. Wrap it in a box, sit it on the shelf. Be creative. Come up with something. You know. Now, when I looked at this on the page, and before anybody asked, the answer is no. There was a link in the description of this mod, which, out of curiosity, I went and looked at the website, and the other mod that was accompanying this mod was this mod: fewer Netflix characters. Now, at first, this came across as funny to me. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. I laughed, I giggled my ass off at this shit. Because I knew it was an underlying jab at Netflix and Disney, and I thought it was the goofiest, most stupidest thing that I've seen in a good while. But that's what you do with jokes. You laugh at jokes. You have fewer Netflix characters, but you got a poster of the Little Mermaid from Disney. So as they say, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So I'm gonna assume that whoever came up with the poster is not a complete idiot or a moron, and this was a play on words. The play on a picture is worth 1,000 words, and this was a jab at both Netflix and Disney. So, to my understanding, the way this mod works, it's not exactly what you would call a whites only mod. What it does is, because one of the things that people complain about in regards to State of Decay, and they would be accurate, is that you cannot start off as a white character per se, or a white guy. Um, I think the closest thing that you come to it is a lesbian couple or whatever, because the starting characters are two groups of people. So you don't really get a lot of options when you first join the game as far as what race you want to start out as. And so I think that's rubbed some people the wrong way, and I can understand because in most games or whatever, your starting creation character screen, when you pick who you're going to play as, you generally have the option of every single solitary race in the game, or, whether or not you want to play as a male or female. Whereas in this game, when you start off, your options are just limited to, I think, about what, four sets of people, 3 or 4 sets of people, and that's it. And anything else that you get is obviously, people that are randomly generated and spawned in world. So, to my understanding, like a lot of the other races, from what I read up on, I think they're spawned, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong in the comments on this, but I think they're spawned in like at 30%, whereas white characters are probably like 20% or lower. So, in my opinion, I can kind of understand why people would feel some type of way about this and feel like the game comes across as racist. And they wouldn't be too far wrong. Uh, so I can kind of get where they're coming from on that, but at the same time, you do have white characters in the game, and to be entirely honest, I honestly feel like Undead Labs asked for people to create mods like this. And the reason I say that, and bear with me, when you make your game obviously a certain way, and you already know you're gonna gauge a response from some people out there over the way you made your game, and you're not having everything equal per se, you kind of invite people to make mods to correct some of that, and you also invite people who are going to be angry about it to even go that extra mile to go a step even further. So now you have an issue of a tit for tat. So here you got Undead Labs over here, basically, they got a game. They got some white folks mad because hardly no white folks, spawning in the game. So, obviously people up in their feelings about that. So what are they gonna do? They gonna make mods to have these white folks, be able to, so they can play as white people, and if roles were reversed, in a game that had predominantly black folks in it, and then the sequel to the game turns around and has no black folks in it, you gotta expect them to mod the black folks in. And if people were bitching, oh, it would be understandable, if the roles were reversed. So equality means equality. It doesn't mean one group over the other group. Now we can play the marginalized group bullshit all damn day long or whatever, but I'm gonna tell you, as somebody that comes from a mixed family, that's a load of horse shit. Ain't nobody marginalized in my family. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Whether you black, brown, Latino, white, whatever, ain't nobody marginalized my ass in this motherfucker. So that's a load of horse shit. Equality means equality. It don't matter who the fuck you are. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, you guys let me know what you think in regards to this in the comments below. I'm not at all surprised that somebody has made mods like this. I think people are getting sick and tired of politics being shoved into their video games. The most common thing that I'm hearing people bring up, is, they're being tired of having the quote unquote forced diversity. But here's the other side of that coin, people. I want y'all to kind of think about this, especially if you've been around the block as long as I have, is that had this game come out, made exactly the way it was about 10, 20 years ago, we'll say 10. 10 years ago, wouldn't have nobody thought twice about this. Nobody would have been whining about this. The only thing people would have probably even said "what the fuck" over would have been all of them little rainbow flags. And to be honest, the way the clothing system is done in the game, because I did finally bite the bullet and say, you know what, stuff it, I'm gonna check it out. And I am gonna take it. I am gonna take a look at it. I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna stream it on the channel. We're gonna go through a playthrough, and I'm gonna give you guys my honest opinion on what I think of the game. Because so far my opinion's been formed based off stuff I read and videos that I've watched on the gameplay. But I will say this: I am gonna give it a fair shot and see if the game is, for lack of a better term, has people like to say woke. I'm gonna see if it's as woke as everybody says it is. So far, I've ran through the tutorial only just to get set up, and it doesn't seem like it's too bad for, you know what I mean? So we're gonna see, and I'm gonna see for myself if the spawn ratio is as bad as people say it is. Um, just out of idle curiosity, because I am a fan of the first game. I think they did a really good job with the first game. So I finally decided to give the second game a try. So you guys can let me know again, like I said, in the comments below, what your thoughts are. You know, if the game, is fairly done, for lack of a better term. What do you think about the spawning system? Do people's arguments, about the game being racist? Do you think that the racial spawns between characters, I can't even believe this is a conversation. Do you think it's equal? Or do you think it leans a little more to the other? And the other thing is white folks. I would tell you this, you know, coming from a fellow white folk, I'm gonna tell you now. I've already got a storyline wrapped up into this. If I don't see no white folks in the game, right, when I'm running around, I'm gonna go with the stereotype. I'm a big fan of stereotypes. Because white people got a stereotype of doing the most extremely dumbest shit in movies. So in my universe, all the white people tried to be heroes and they tried to bum rush the zombies and they got themselves AIDS. So all the zombies you see, them's the white people. Them's the white people, and and the game is inclusive because the white people is coming after. And in general, like I said, I'm not surprised that mods like this are being made. I don't know if I would necessarily class it as a whites only mod because it doesn't necessarily like the Hogwarts Legacy video that I did. It's not eradicating an entire race of people out. It's basically changing the spawn rates. So I don't know if I would necessarily class it as a whites only mod, but at the same time, I mean, I'm fairly sure that it might, because of there being one extreme to the other. I'm pretty sure that's what this mod would more than likely probably will do. So, personally, I have no interest in looking at it, and because I don't want to break any YouTube rules, or anything to that effect. You can't make, you can't make the landlord mad. YouTube is a landlord. See, I only rent a little space on here. The channel is my little space I rent out. So, I can't be making a landlord mad having some shit, that they're not gonna be cool with, and I don't want to potentially link something or whatever that without fully vetting it out, and I have no intentions of looking at the mod. So, I'm not gonna link some shit on my channel or whatever that's gonna be what do you call it, offensive, because that's not cool either. But so please don't ask me for the link. I'm not gonna give it to nobody. You guys can Google is your friend. You guys can Google search that shit if you really want it bad enough. And hope you guys respect that and understand my position where I'm coming from on this. Because the last time I did a video on a mod like this, I've had people request after request, and I don't want to be rude, but I mean, I don't reply to them because I mean I don't really know what to tell you. I've already stated in that particular video that I'm not giving that mod out. So when I say in this video I'm not giving a mod out, y'all need to understand. I mean what I say. I'm not giving a mod out. You know, just like I stumbled across it, y'all can stumble across it. That's just the way it is. In any case, You guys take it easy. Have a good one. Hopefully, I see some of y'all hang out at the stream or whatever. Let me know what you guys think of the game. Let me know if you have any opinions about any of the stuff that I've talked about. I definitely think, when it comes to like political symbols like rainbow flags or any other kind of flags for that matter, I do think game developers should, at the very least, give you an option to be able to disable if you do or don't want to see that kind of stuff in your game. Not everybody's about that political life. I'm not about that political life, so uh, it is what it is. My opinion, you can't promote inclusivity with exclusivity. So, and that's just the cold stone reality to it. Anyway, guys, you all take care, stay safe, and have a good one, everybody.